Audience feedback is essential when creating a media product which is aimed at a specific audience. It should be from those within your target audience to provide relevant and accurate information which can be used to alter and improve your product to better suit them. Before this can be conducted, a target audience has to be identified. I was required to establish a gender, age, and socioeconomics for those who I was targeting within my media products. This would create a specific demographic to obtain my audience feedback from. I established that my target audience would be females, aged 13 to 25, who fit into the socio-economic groups of E, D and C2. As well as this, I also created a narrative profile for a typical member of my target audience, allowing me to have a complete idea of the type of person who would be watching my film. This is an important stage as the target audience need to be referred to throughout the process of producing a project, as it is essential that they are appealed to. After I had defined my target audience and gathered some of the initial ideas on what the film would be about, I conducted the initial questionnaire to further my development of the ideas. I had already decided upon a romance genre, and therefore the questions were based on the decisions that I was still struggling with, such as the title, as well as the opinions relating to the plot and the number of characters that should be included. The questionnaire allowed me to collate the data in a way which was useful and productive towards my final piece. With a mixture of open and closed questions, as well as follow-up questions, I was able to collect both quantitative and qualitative data between the 10 questions. This not only gave me a useful information, but a wide variety relating to different areas of my short film. Audience feedback prior to the pre-production planning stage is essential. It allows certainty that the idea will be well received by the audience, as well as ensuring any queries in regards to the plot and characters are also sorted before they are drawn up and turned into storyboards. Before I analysed the data that I had collected, I created a blog post about the justifications of the questions that I have asked. This was so that I could make sure that I wasn't wasting any questions and that everything on the questionnaire was valuable to the production of my short film. As a result of this process, I knew exactly what I wanted to achieve from asking the questions, meaning that when it came to analysing the results, I could clearly pick out the relevant answers that were useful to me. The analysis wasn't only a description of what the questionnaire told me, but it contained a section on what I was going to do with this information and how it would be applied to my short film. A questionnaire is pointless if the results collected are not then applied to the project that is being carried out, and so at this stage of the research was very important. After completing the initial questionnaire, I received constant audience feedback from my peers. I would often ask questions to my classmates and teachers, and although these interactions were not documented, they always had a significant impact on my film. These may be small changes, such as the colour of a title, but the long-term effects of these communications had a great impact on the final product. This was also very beneficial as the majority of those in my class were members of my target audience, meaning that any information that they were willing to give was relevant to my short film and the audience that I am trying to appeal to. Another formal method of audience research that I conducted was a focus group. A small group of individuals from my target audience got together and answered some simple questions that I asked them in the style of a discussion. This was successful as it allowed those who participated to get into a discussion based around the developing ideas that I have for my short film. The question that I found the most helpful was the brainstorming ideas for a name for my short film. All the ideas that were generated allowed me to further my research in the form of a survey, in which I reached a clear objective answer. Focus groups are successful for developing ideas and achieving subjective information. I recorded this information so that I could replay and analyse the information in more detail than the simple notes that I made during the discussion. A focus group was also helpful when improvements were needed to be made after completing my first edit. Those involved watched my first edit and brought to light any areas that needed improvement, for example, the wind noise throughout. I took note of the areas that adjustments needed to be made to and altered my short film so that it would be more appealing to the target audience. Surveys were also a method that I used to make conclusive decisions in regards to my short film. This allowed me to produce quantitative, objective data which could be analysed to clearly see which option has the majority vote and therefore what the decision should be. Surveys were really useful throughout the process of my coursework, as at several different points there were ideas that I wasn't sure about, and so I carried out a survey within my target audience to find out the answer which would then be applied to my short film.